Well, good morning, everyone, and a very warm welcome to you all to this very first e-lection session with us at e-sgol and our partners for this project, Senedd Cymru. My name's Hugh Davis, and I'm very glad to see that my partner for this session, Carol Mai Hughes, has joined me on screen. Bore da, Carol, how are you this morning?
Bore da, Hugh. I'm very good. Thank you. Very excited to be here this morning with you all.
As am I, absolutely. Very much looking forward to learning about today's session, Your Senedd, Your Voice, Your Wales. So I'm going to hand over the reins straight away, Carol, and I think we can get cracking. So diolch yn fawr iawn, away we go.
Diolch, Hugh. Yes, bore da, everybody. Good morning, everybody. My name is Carol, and I do work for the Senedd here in Wales as an education officer. So my job is to give you, as young people, the opportunity to learn a bit more about the Senedd and how you can have your voice heard in what the Senedd does as well. So yeah, welcome to this session, and we will get cracking then. So if we move on to the next slide, we're going to begin with this picture here. So yeah, today we are going to learn about the Senedd, what it is, what it does, and who the Senedd is as well. This is a picture of the Senedd building. Some of you may have visited the Senedd building before, or possibly seen it on the news. It's a very unique building, it's very modern, and it is a building that's open to all to visit as well. But does anybody know where the Senedd is? Who? Do you know where the Senedd building is?
Oh, now then, you put me on the spot, Carol.
Yeah, sorry, who?
I think it's in Southeast Wales in Cardiff.
Yes, well done. It is in Cardiff, of course, in our capital city here in Wales, down in Cardiff Bay. It is a very special building, as I've already mentioned. And what happens in the Senedd building, it affects our lives every single day. So what we're going to do now is have a look at what happens in the Senedd. So if we move on to the next slide, I've got a question for you now. We're going to have a couple of questions like this during the session, where there are three choices, and we're going to make you move around a little bit and get involved. Okay, so what happens in the Senedd is the question, and we've got three choices here. Now, A is singing and folk dancing. B, debates and decision making, and C, everyone takes orders from one person. Now, what I want you to do, if you think the answer is A, I want you to put your hands on your head, okay? If you think the answer is B, I want you to put your hands on your shoulders. And if you think it's C, I want you to put your hands in the air like this, okay? Bit of jazz hands. So I'm going to count to three, and I want you to show everybody in your class what your answer is, okay? So 1, 2, 3. Now, Hugh, what do you think the answer is? Are you going with head, shoulders, or jazz hands?
Yeah, well, yeah, I was concentrating there, making sure I knew which one was which. So I think I'm sure there has been some singing and folk dancing at the Senedd, but I'd imagine the main thing that happened is debating and decision making. So I'm going to put my hands on my shoulders.
You are correct, Hugh. Well done. It was the right answer. Yes, debates and decision making. Okay, so that is what happens in the Senedd. So if we move on to the next slide, life is full of decisions, okay? Both big and small. And all of us here, I'm pretty sure, will have made a decision today without even noticing, okay? Decisions such as which sock you're going to put on first this morning, left or right? What you should eat for breakfast, yeah? I'm sure you've made several decisions before coming to school. I mean, I decided to have Weetabix for my breakfast this morning. Yeah, what about you, Hugh? What kind of decisions have you made this morning?
Oh, if I go right back to the very first one, it would probably be when my alarm clock went off, whether to press snooze or not. And to be honest, I did press snooze this morning. I needed the extra 10 minutes in bed, Carol.
Well, it is Friday after all, Hugh, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't blame you. Yeah. So as you see, all of us have made some sorts of decisions, and I'm sure all of you have as well. In school, you all have a school council or a school senedd. Okay. And I'm sure some of you here are members of your school council or your school senedd, and that has a role in your school to make decisions that affect your school day. Okay, I'm sure they've made decisions on what equipment to have for the playground, or they've made decisions around raising money for charities, for example. But have you ever thought about who is responsible for the big decisions that affect us here in Wales? Okay, so if we go on to the next slide, I'm talking here about decisions such as how much physical exercise we need to do at school in order to grow healthy and strong. Okay, who makes the rules that are needed around smoking and vaping? Yeah, what do we need to do here in Wales to look after our environment? What are our recycling rules and so on? And how much money to spend on things like hospitals, leisure centres, community centres and new roads and all sorts of decisions. Okay, now we call all these big decisions that are made about our communities and our country, we call it politics. Okay, and I'm sure lots of you have heard the word politics before. And basically, politics is the Senedd debating and making decisions here in Wales. Okay, now if we go to the next slide, we're going to see where this all happens. Okay, now on the slide, we've got a picture of the main room within the Senedd building that I showed you right at the start. Okay, this is the Senedd chamber or siambr in Welsh, and it's deep in the heart of the Senedd building. And this is where those debates and decisions take place. Okay, we've got Ellen Jones, the picture of a lady called Ellen Jones on the slide. And Ellen Jones is what we call the Senedd's presiding officer, okay, or a llywydd in Welsh. Now, you're probably wondering who she is. Yeah, why is she called the presiding officer? Well, basically, her job is very similar to your teacher in school. Okay, so your teacher helps to make sure that you as a classroom work together, make sure that you as a classroom are learning new things every single day. Now, Ellen Jones's job is very, very similar. Yeah, she sits right in the middle of the chamber, and it's her job to lead these debates that happen here in the Senedd. She leads the debates, make sure that everybody has an opportunity to have their say, make sure that everybody is working together to make the best decisions for our country here in Wales. So, there are rules around what the Senedd can debate. Okay, just like there are rules around what your school council can talk about. So, example, your school council can't decide how much homework you get. Yeah, that's your teacher's decision. Okay, but your school council would be able to talk about what kind of activities you do on the yard, and that's really, really important because it's part of your everyday school life. Okay. And just the same, here in the Senedd, we've got rules around what the Senedd can debate and make decisions about. So I've got another little activity for you now on the next slide. Okay, so what is discussed by the Senedd or in the Senedd? So we've got lots of different subjects on the board. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you to take a couple of minutes as a class to discuss which ones of these can the Senedd here in Wales debate and make decisions on here in Wales. Okay, and I want you to put some answers in the chat for us. Okay, so have a quick chat about it as a class, and then once you've got some answers, pop them in the chat, and then we'll see what Hugh thinks as well, and whether Hugh can get any of the answers correct. So
I hope so. Yeah.
Yeah, hope so, Hugh.
Mm.
Okay, so there we go. Have a quick chat and pop some answers in the chat function when you're ready. Let's see who's going to be the first. Oh, St Patrick's RC Primary School were first. First in with schools. Then we've got farming from Radnor Valley. Okay. They're coming in. We've got environment from St Andrews as well. Oh, now Beth have said all of them. Okay. We've got health, we've got school, health and environment by Peterlee Primary School there. Health, again, we've got Welsh language, which is a new one that's come in. Not the army. Some of them, yes, there's more people asking if it's all of them. Oh, okay, right. Hugh, what do you think? I'm going to ask you to name me 2 of these that the Senedd can debate.
They can debate, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm pretty sure, being a farmer's son, that I've heard the Senedd talk about farming, and I'd imagine that the Welsh language is discussed in the Senedd rather than at Westminster in London as well.
Oh, good choices, Hugh. Yes, you are absolutely correct, Alden. And Welsh language and farming has come through on the chat as well. Fantastic. Okay, let's see which ones they can debate then. Oh, there we go. Okay, so everybody that said farming, health, sports, fire service, Welsh language, food, the environment and schools, absolutely fantastic. I think we've seen all of those in the chat, so well done. They can't make decisions around things like the army, postal service, the police, media. This isn't a full list of everything that the Senedd can debate, but there's lots of things there that are really, really important to our everyday lives here in Wales. For example, schools. All of you are in school right now, and it's really, really important to go to school for you to be able to learn. And all of you in school will get the opportunity to learn how to speak Welsh, which brings the Welsh language into that as well. Health is important, and it means hospitals, ambulance service, everything around our health really here in Wales. Hugh, you've just said that you've come from a farming family. Why do you think farming is important?
Well, I mean, I'm biased, so I definitely think it's important. But I suppose because without farming, we wouldn't have any food, Carol.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's really, really important for producing food and looking after the countryside here in Wales. Yeah, diolch Hugh. And then, of course, you've got things like sports, which are there to keep us healthy. Lots of these things, all of these things are things that affect us in everyday life. Now, the Senedd makes decisions on these subjects, and they can affect our everyday lives, just like I've already said. And the Senedd decisions turn into laws. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit more about laws now. So I've got another question on my next slide. So the Senedd can pass laws for Wales, but what is the purpose of laws? We've got 3 choices again. We've got A, to make us angry, B, to punish us, or C, to keep us safe. Okay, now we're going to switch it around a little bit. Okay, if you think it's A, to make us angry, I want you to wave your hands like this. If you think it's B, to punish us, I want you to tap your head. And if you think it's C, to keep us safe, we'll go with the shoulders. Yeah? Okay. So, after 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Hugh, what do you think? Which one are you going
Now
with?
then, I'm sure some laws do make some people angry because they don't agree with them, Carol, possibly, but I'm sure the right answer is to keep us safe. So I think it was hands on shoulders again, wasn't it? Like
Yeah, hands
this.
on shoulders there.
Yeah.
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 Okay. Yes, you are right. And actually, some people have said C in the chat as well, which is fantastic. So yeah, diolch yn fawr iawn. Thank you. It is to keep us safe. Okay, so just like you've got rules in school, yeah, laws do the exact same thing. Your rules or your goals within your school are there to keep you all safe. Okay, and that's why we have laws here in Wales, is to keep everybody in Wales safe. Now, we've got some examples of some laws that the Senedd has passed. Okay, now we've got 3 pictures. What do you think the pictures show us, Hugh? We'll go with the first picture. What law do you think we're looking at here?
Right then. Okay, so it looks like this person is at the supermarket, possibly.
Hmm.
And front and center, we've got those plastic shopping bags. So is it something to do with the fact that we have to pay 5p these days to use a plastic bag?
Yes, you're absolutely right. Paying for those plastic bags, paying for single-use bags, yeah? So Hugh and I will remember a time where we could go to Asda or Tesco's or Aldi or wherever you shop, and you could have as many bags as you wanted to pack your shop in and take it home. Yeah, and then the Senedd passed a law which said that we'd have to pay 5p for plastic bags. And the idea was to try and reduce the amount of those single-use plastic bags that we use here in Wales. And by now, we hardly see them. Yeah, we use those bags for life a lot more, and everybody is reusing, yeah, the bags that they've already got. Just like Nabeth School have put in the chart reusable bags. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, all to do with looking after the environment. And we've also got written down there banning single-use plastic items, which is something else that the Senedd has done here in Wales in terms of law making. Okay, right. What about the next one? I think this is an easy one, Hugh.
Well, it's had a lot of coverage in the news and the media recently, hasn't it? And it's probably, going back to the last slide, Carol, one of those that has made some people angry, but
Yeah.
has been done for all the right reasons again to try and keep people safe. So I think it's to do with the new 20-mile-an-hour speed limit that's been introduced.
Yeah, absolutely. You're absolutely right. Yeah. And like you say, yeah, it wasn't something that everybody was very happy about when it first came into place. But I think by now, people are understanding a bit more about why the Senedd have put this 20 miles an hour speed limit in place. And like we already said in the last slide, you know, the whole purpose of making these laws is to keep us safe, and that was the whole purpose of this law, was reducing the speed of road travel in order to keep all of you safe in Wales. Okay, right. The last one, Hugh. What do you think?
Well, it looks like a school hall or a canteen, possibly. You can see the dinner ladies in the back there. So I'd imagine with the school learners eating a big hearty school lunch, that I would say it's something to do with the fact that the Senedd have introduced free school meals for everyone in primary schools.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic. Yeah, so the Senedd has introduced a law which says that every child in primary school in Wales gets a free school lunch, and that's really, really important to ensure that everybody has a fair chance to grow up healthy and fit. And it all ties in again to keeping us all safe, doesn't it? So yeah, absolutely. Free school lunch for all primary school pupils in Wales. Well done, Hugh. You've done a fantastic job there. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
But just some examples of some of the laws that the Senedd has made. There are lots of other laws, and there will be an opportunity after today's session for you all to think of a law that you might like to see here in Wales. And I know Hugh will talk a bit more about that later on. So we now know that we have a Senedd here in Wales, okay, that it comes together in the Senedd building to debate and to make decisions that turn into laws. But who? Who are these people who get to debate in the Senedd building? So we've got another three-choice question. Yeah, who debates and passes laws in the Senedd? Okay, we're going to go A, members of the Senedd, B, parents, or C, police. So if you think it's A, members of the Senedd, put your hands on your head. I'm going to go back to the same one we did at the start. If you think it's B, it's hand on your shoulders. And if you think it's C, please, it's just hands. Okay, we've got a couple of answers in the chat as well here. But after three, 1, 2, 3. What do you think, Hugh? You're going with your hands on your head?
I've gone, yeah, parents and police are obviously very important in their way, but this answer, surely, I'm agreeing with everyone in the chat that it's members of the Senedd.
Yeah, absolutely, it is. Members of the Senedd, fantastic, well done. Okay, so members of the Senedd. If we go to the next slide, we should be able to see them. Yeah, there they are. So there are 60 members of the Senedd currently, and as you can see from the map, there are members of the Senedd that represent all parts of Wales. Yeah, all parts of Wales on that map there. And after the session today, you can go to the Senedd website to find out a bit more about who your members of the Senedd are. All of you have got 5 members that represent you in your local area. Some of you may already know who they are and can spot them there. But you can go and find out who they are through the Senedd website. I'm not going to say much more because I know you're going to be talking about these members of the Senedd a bit more in the session next week. But for now, yeah, we've got 60 members of the Senedd. You've all got 5 members of the Senedd that represent you. And they are chosen through an election. And I know that's going to be the sole purpose of the session next week, so I won't say more about that here. So what is really, really important to look at is what is the work of members of the Senedd? What is it that they actually do? We know that they get together and they debate and they make decisions, but there's a little bit more to it than that. So we've got 5 symbols on the board. I'm going to put Hugh on the spot again. I'm going to ask him to try and guess what each of these symbols mean. They all mean something that members of the Senedd do in their role every day. So we'll go with the first one. What do you think, Hugh?
Right then, okay. So that looks like a loudspeaker, I would have thought. So something to do with speaking on our behalf or representing us, possibly.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Number one job that the Senedd members have, or members of the Senedd have, is to speak up on our behalf. Yeah, it's their job to represent us in our local areas here in Wales. And so, yeah, they do speak up on our behalf. Okay, what about the next one?
That looks like an ear to me. So I'd imagine that members of the Senedd are expected to listen to their constituents.
Yeah, absolutely. Listening is another very, very important part of their role. Yeah. Listening to what you, as members of the public in their local areas, listening to your ideas, listening to your concerns, and taking those then back to the Senedd. So yeah, absolutely, listening is really, really important. Oh, somebody's already put in the chat what they think the next one is. Yeah, but what do you think, Hugh?
And yeah, that is a good suggestion. Working together to help. But it also looks to me as if they're sitting around, 3 people are sitting around a round table. So is it some kind of meeting, maybe to discuss important matters?
Yeah, absolutely. Meeting and, debating, exactly like we've been talking about this morning, isn't it? Coming together and debating and meeting those and to talk about those important issues. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, meeting and debating. And thank you, Peterlee Primary School, working together to help. Absolutely. Yes, a fantastic suggestion as well. Okay, what about the next one?
Well, that looks like a much more muscular arm than either of mine. So I'd imagine it's something to do with being strong for the people that they represent.
Yeah, absolutely. Here you've got that spot on. Yeah, being strong, being challenging as well, isn't it? And asking questions. Yeah. So your individual members of the Senedd for your local area will take your suggestions and your questions and ideas back to the Senedd. So they need to be strong in how they put that forward. But yeah, making sure that they are challenging other members of the Senedd and asking the correct questions on your behalf as well. And finally, I think this is my favourite one, Who?
Well, I recognise that picture. It's a map of Wales. So I'd imagine it's something to do with that members of the Senedd are expected to make Wales the best country it can possibly be.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Working together and making Wales the best country it can be, which is, of course, the ultimate goal of being a member of the Senedd. And together they work together to do that, yeah, to make sure that Wales is the best it can be. So a member of the Senedd has a very, very important job. Yeah, speaking up, listening, meeting and debating, asking questions, and of course all of that, making sure that Wales is the best that it can be. So you've learned a lot about the Senedd in a very short time this morning. So we know where the Senedd is, what they do, who is the Senedd as well, and I know you're going to be learning a bit more about that next week.